Cape York and the Old Telegraph Track. It's one of the most iconic four-wheel drive destinations in Australia. I don't think there's a single four-wheel driver who hasn't at least fantasised about doing it. It's tough, it's remote, it's claimed many a vehicle. It's been on my bucket list ever since I got my first four-wheel drive. So join me as I drive to the most northern point of the Australian continent. Ticket for the Jardine River Ferry. Now it's FPOS only, can't pay with cash here. So bought that, return ticket, $100 for a car. Now we'll go and line up and head across the Jardine. I reckon this bloke's the most filmed guy on YouTube at the moment. This is the safest way to cross the Jardine. Some people do still attempt to drive the original crossing, but it's long, soft and deep. And with this river being home to crocs, it's not the place you want to walk or get stuck. Here we are. I don't think that was even 30 seconds. $100 for 30 seconds each way. But we're on the northern tip now. With the Jardine River crossing out of the way, it was time to set up camp at Loyalty Beach and then head for the tip. Now, they were doing some controlled burning of the bush on the day that we were up. Now, the Aboriginals have managed to land this way for thousands of years to reduce the risk of major bushfire, and some of our native plants actually require fire for their seeds to sprout. The corrugations north of the Jardine make the PDR look like a paved highway, and the tree shadows do an excellent job at hiding some of the potholes. You really need to pay attention on these roads. Car park, it's a 900-metre walk to where you can get your photo taken beside the iconic sign on the northernmost tip of the Australian continent. Well, that was a pretty wild trip out to the tip yesterday. So we'd just gone up, seen the tip, stood by the sign, did the photo and everything. As we're coming back, this massive tree had fallen down in front of the road, blocking the entire path. There was cars queued up behind us, there was a couple in front too, and this massive tree blocking the path. So the blokes on one side had a chainsaw, I had a winch, and together we cut a path and dragged the trunk out of the way, and gave us enough room to get our cars through so we could get back to camp. Anyway, bit of adventure for the day, and now we're just heading off and photos out today, have a look at some of the history of the area. Anyway, onto the airfield.
Believe it or not, this is the wreckage of a successful crash landing. Suffering oil pressure problems in one engine on the return flight from Port Moresby, Flying Officer John Cady, only 23 years old, feathered the prop on the stricken engine. Now losing altitude with just one engine, he limped the plane back, and landing without brakes or flaps and still doing 95 knots at the end of the runway. All 3 crew and 4 passengers walked away. There are literally thousands of these empty fuel barrels lying around in the bush left over from the airfield during the war. The 6 men on board this C-49 were not so lucky. Leaving Archerfield on May 4th, 1945, they crashed while attempting to land at the airfield in the dark at 05:18 on the 5th. It hit a number of trees and partially burned. The 4 crew and 2 passengers were killed. We had read reports of there also being a crashed P-40 Kitty Hawk in the area, but try as we might, we were unable to locate the wreckage.
Yeah, I'm still not seeing any plane around here.
We later learned that there were only small scraps of steel left behind, but the search wasn't completely fruitless.
Mum, and a brand new, looks like a brand new little car. Very cute. So this is the 5 Beaches run. If you're here on a low tide, I don't know about a high tide, it looks like it comes up a bit high, but on a low tide you can drive down along the 5 beaches from Somerset Beach or Somerset Point, whatever it's called. I can't remember now. And yeah, just follow the beaches down. They're quite nice, very beautiful. It's a bit rocky. The sand's not too bad. Tip when you're four-wheel driving, especially over like rocks and ruts and stuff like that, and in fact it's probably a good idea to do at any time, even driving through the city. I always do it, and that is keep your thumbs on the outside of the steering wheel, because if you hit a rock or rut and you got your thumb in there, that's spin around and break your thumb. So yeah, but same thing could happen in the city. You could hit a pothole, or I don't know, maybe you could hit a gutter. But yeah, always keep your thumbs outside the wheel. They reckon you got a good chance of seeing a croc along these beaches, these 5 beaches, but we haven't seen many yet, so I'd love to see one, but
Thanks for watching. Join me next time as I start to head south and take on the Creb track.